Good evening, everyone. Also, especially to our instructor of AST 315 Workshop Management, Miss Maricarno Dalo. Good evening, ma'am. So, for today, the topic, we are the Group 11 discussing about conducting a workshop. So, what is workshop? A workshop is a structured and interactive session designed to create an environment for meaningful work and to guide a group through a process that will lead to a great outcomes. So, for me, workshop kuno is usad ako na siya sa structured or mga interactive sessions nga nag-design or nag-create og mga environment nga meaningful work nga naghatag og mga meaningful work or i-guide ta nila through the process kung unsaon nila nga i-lead ta nila didto ngadto sa great outcomes. Then for me, ang workshop management sad is usa na siya ka interactive meetings kung asa ang mga groups or people mga which a group of people makabuhat og mga activities like kung unsaon nila pagsulbad ang or pag-achieve ang mga problems sa work or sa mga subjects, and also kaninga discussions of collections sa work exercise and then sa mga particular projects or subjects ano niya. Then matawag sud na siya nga ang workshop is a group of people also nga mo share their knowledge or experiences. Kung mo nang giingon nila nga murag gitawag nga group of people share their knowledge and their experiences, like murag mo kuan gani ka murag you share your experiences about your life or kung sa trabaho lang gani kuan mo kanang group of people nga mo share mo sa usag-usa kung unsay mga angay ninyong kuanan kanang diskussan nga kanang related sad sa unsay inyong topic or unsay inyong kinahanglanon nga mga spread nga mga meetings or sessions nga na siya. So para na kumo na siya yung mga workshop mo may giingon nila nga design kuno nga mag-create of environment or mga meaningful nga works para mag-guide ka sa grupo through sa murag ma-process ka nga ma-lead ka into great outcomes or kanang mas mo maayo ka, mas maka-learn ka og daghan nga na.
Why would you give a workshop? First, passion for the subject. Many people find joy in sharing their knowledge and expertise with others, especially if they're passionate about a particular topic. Second, helping others learn and grow. Workshop can provide valuable skills and insight that can empower participants to achieve their goals. Third, building a community. Workshop can foster connections and create a sense of community among participants who share a common interest. Fourth, expanding professional network. Workshop can provide opportunities to connect with others professionals in the field, leading to new collaborations and opportunities. Boosting credibility and visibility. Offering workshop can establish an individual as an expert in their field, increasing their credibility and visibility within their industry. Generating income. Workshop can be a source of income, especially for those who are passionate about their topic and have the skills to teach it effectively. So why would you want to conduct a workshop? There are a number of situations in which a workshop would be the most choice. First, the beginning of something new. If your organization is adopting a new method, or your community initiative is taking a new track, there are often new pieces of information or ways of functioning that people must learn. A workshop or series of workshop is a way to introduce this in a short time and get people ready for the change. Second, the initial training of staff or volunteers. Workshops are often a good way to train new staff members or volunteers in the philosophy, methods, and functioning of your organization or in techniques they need to do their jobs. Third, the in-service or ongoing training of staff or volunteers. Workshop in different issues, techniques are a good way to keep staff and volunteers fresh and thinking about what they're going. Staff development. Workshops are often used as a way of honing professional skills and learning about new development in the field.
How do you conduct a workshop? There are three phases to conducting a workshop: planning, preparation, and implementation. Planning. Planning a workshop ultimately means figuring out what you want to do to guide participants through the experience and what you hope they're learning from it. In order to do that, you have to consider a number of factors. Number one is to consider your topic. The first element of planning a workshop is to know what you're talking about, no matter how interactive and participatory your workshop will be. You still have to have a good command of what you're presenting. Do your homework so that you're confident you can deal with the most questions and issues that might come up. That doesn't mean you have to know absolutely everything about the topic, but that you have to know the responsible amount about it and understand it well enough so that you can help participants fit it into the context of their own jobs and lives. Consider your audience. Your audience, the people who will actually be the part of the workshop, is probably the most important piece of the puzzle here. Understanding them and their needs will do more than anything else to help you decide what to do and how to do it. Consider the workshop size. If the group is an ideal size for the most purposes, about 8 to 12, you can arrange activities that involve participants as individuals, in a small groups, 2 to 4, and in the whole group. In the group is larger than about 15, you'll probably want to split it up for many activities, even smaller than 7 or 8. You might be better off having the whole group work together for the most of the workshop. Consider the time available. Workshop can run from us a little as an hour or less to as much as a day or even longer. It's important that your goals for the workshop match the time available. This means not only planning out your presentation to fill the time appropriately, but also matching the amount of material you're covered to the time available, especially if it's all new participants. They'll need lots of time for the clarification, questions, etc. in order to understand it. Vary activities. This type of workshop is more than long enough for participants to get bored or overwhelmed. 2 or 3 consecutive hours of talking head can send many people out the door screaming for fresh air. Vary the seriousness of the material. And interspersing activities and ideas that are fun or humorous with others that are more serious can not only keep participants awake and on their toes, but can aid learning as well. Plan a break. This will speak to the attention span issue and allow participants a chance to get coffee, go to the bathroom, etc. without disturbing the flow of the workshop. But also be aware that breaks always take longer than planned. Add another 5 to 10 minutes onto the time that you ask people to take. Participants need time to talk and connect with one another. The opportunity to get to know others and to exchange ideas is one of the main values of the workshop for many people and shouldn't be shortchanged. Consider the purpose of the workshop. Workshops are given for many purposes, and each implies some specific methods of presentation and the other details, some common purposes and their implications. Consider your presentation. The style of your presentation, both your personal style and the actual methods of presentation you employ, will do much to determine the effectiveness of your workshop. Some of these will depend on your own personalities and experiences, but there are some general guidelines that can be useful.
Preparation to conduct a workshop is very important. Very important jud ang preparation. So, find out about the space you'll be using, if possible. If the space is your own, you can choose the room or place that would be best and set it up beforehand. If you are being assigned space in another facility, you may be able to request a particular type or size of room, or may be able to get it set up in a certain way. Chairs in a circle, comfortable furnitures, etc. You need to think about how you will use the space. If ever na ay kaugalingong space, pwede ra jud makabot if gusto nimo nga like anang room or place, so dapat preferred na kaana to conduct a workshop. Bring anything you need. Don't assume any of it will be there unless you have specifically arranged. Even then, you can't be sure. So, dapat sad ang mga kinahanglanon is naandam na. If you are going to ask people to write something, or if they might want to take notes, make sure you bring enough pencils and paper for everyone. So, dapat sad for example, if naa kay customer nga need og pencil or paper, dapat naa kaana. Make and collate at least twice as many copies as you think you need of any printed you want to hand out. Bring easels, newspaper, and newsprint and markers for recording ideas, questions, comment, or for documenting goes on in small groups. If you are making overheads, lists, and agenda, etc., do it well beforehand, not the right before your presentation. If you have to take it all somewhere, if your presentation is anywhere but in your own space, put it in your car the night before. Make and use a checklist to be sure you don't forget anything. Arrange well beforehand for any equipment you need. Overhead projector, VCR, and monitor, computer, etc. Or plan to bring it yourself. If you are bringing it, make sure you have a backup in case the one you are planning on isn't working. Make your arrangements well beforehand, in writing as well as verbally, if possible, and check a day or two before the workshop to see that everything is in order. Get there early enough to check on it on the day of the workshop. Assume that if anything can go wrong, well, and that even if it's not your responsibility, you have to fix it anyway. Make materials and handouts attractive and interesting as possible so that participants will return to them. Maghimo og kanang hands-out nga makapa-attract sa customer og makapa-interest nila. Usa na sa example ang paggamit sa mga light nga color. Use color where you can. Easy to read charts and graphs are useful for a lot of people, although not everyone. Very useful sad ang charts o graphs. If it's appropriate, organize printed materials so that easy to read and digest, outline form, bullets, and the use of color or pictures can all be helpful here. Actual things people can take home, each ribbons, miniature model breast for practicing self-examination, can serve to keep the learning at the workshop in their consciousness. Last is be over prepared. If you think a block of the workshop will probably last 30 minutes, be ready with at least an hour's worth of material for it. In some groups, you may only use what you thought would take 15 minutes. So, mas maayo ng over preferred kaysa sa dili preferred. The longer the workshop, the more important this becomes.
Make up an evaluation form that people can fill out quickly at the end of the workshop, but that covers the areas you really want to know about. Mini conference prepare evaluation forms for each workshop, in which case you don't have to. In distance, the search of things is usually multiple choice form that either asks participants to rate each area from 1 to 5 or to check off one of 5 choices ranging from strongly agree to strongly disagree. Some areas you might want to cover include the clarity of your presentation, the usefulness of each of the various kinds of activities you included, especially in the context of the participant jobs or lives, how interesting and relevant the content was to participants, your command of the material, how will you know your stuff, how will the workshop keep people interested, how well you were able to set and sustain a comfortable tone. Implementation. A workshop, especially a longer one, has distinct phases. There is the introduction, which covers the time from when the first participant walks into the room to when the first topic-related activity begins. The substance of the workshop includes the presentation and activities, and closure involves review, reflection, evaluation, and ending. We'll discuss each of these with some ideas about how to make them go smoothly. Introduction. This part of the workshop will let people know that their experience is going to be like. By the time the workshop actually starts, participants often have strong inkling about whether they're going to like it or not. Thus, it's important to set a positive tone and to make people feel comfortable and interested, to give them some familiarity with you and with one another, and to make sure that they know that coming in the rest of the workshop. Setting the tone. There are some steps you can take to make participants comfortable as soon as they walk in and to establish the workshop as the community of learners. The space. We've already discussed setting up the room so that people face one another, so that there's no obvious place of authority, and so that the environment is comfortable physically and psychologically as possible. Greeting. As participants enter the room, a process which may cover 15 minutes or more, there is a period when often no one quite knows what to do. The presenter may smile and nod as people come in, but the workshop hasn't started yet and there isn't anything to talk about. One way to eliminate this awkwardness is to introduce yourself to people as they come in. Hand them materials and evaluation form and ask them about their backgrounds or about why they're interested in workshop. New arrivals can be pulled into the conversation as they come in so that no one feels shut out. By the time everyone is in the room and the workshop is about to start, participants will be talking to one another and to you, and the awkwardness will have given way to conviviality.
Personal introductions. Especially if your workshop involves a lot of hands-on and group activities, it will go better if people are comfortable with one another. If you've started a conversation as they walk in, many participants may already have talked to others that they didn't know, but it still makes sense to introduce yourself and everyone else. You might start by introducing yourself with a very brief explanation of why you're conducting this workshop, experience you've had, your familiarity with the topic, or etc. This shouldn't take more than a minute or so. Then you might use a technique or game to introduce the members of the group to one another. You can also take part in this activity if you think it will be helpful to your purpose. So, ang personal introductions mo ginay common gid nato labi na gyud kung bago pa ta nagkaila-ila na. So it is important gyapon nga kung eskwela ta, like first day of school, kinahanglan gid ta magpaila sa usag-usa kay para sad nga kanang mahimong close na to ang uban ana. And then nakabutang diri nga ang kaning nga workshop ko no, kaning personal introductions is na-involve ni siya sa workshops. Na-involve ni siya sa lot of hands-on and group activities. So, ang people kuno, if people daw kuno may mga comfortable with one another, so, gusto gid nimo nga mag-start, ikaw mismo mo start og conversations nila. Or, kanang bisan og nag-talk na sila about nimo pero wag gyapon sila kaila nimo, so kinahanglan gid nga mo pailagid ka nila ana. Then I like that, yun ang paila-ila kasi lang wow na siya, pero then it's very nice yun nga na-adjust personal introductions para makaila ang tanan, mahimong close ni mga usag-usa kataw. Then it is still makes sense na mag-introduce gud kanila sa everyone bisan og makaingon ka nga wow sad ili-ilab sa ganahan, pero it is important good makaat na lang kag kuan ka na paila-ila kay maana drasad ka labi na og kanang tan-aw nimo nga kinahanglan ka magpaila-ila kay daghan pa wa ka ila nimo. Yes, like that. So kinahanglan kung mag-personal introduction ka, mag-start gid ka og introducing yourself bisag gamay lang nga explanations, no? So number one nimo introductions is ang imuhang name, age, full name, your age, your gender, then your age na naman mananaday na, I mean number one yun na imuhang motto, habit, then pwede sad ka mo share sa imong mga na-experience. So pero para na ako kung mag personal introduction ko diha ra gid ko tub sa may kuan ka ng mga habit ra, dili na magtaas kung sa mga na-experience nimo ana. Pero kung connect na siya sa imuhang like sa purpose nimo nga topic, pwede sad na nimo siya i-share ang kana siya ang personal introduction. So nakibaw naman taan na tanan kung unsa gyud personal introductions. So next is the agenda and plan for the session. It's helpful to either hand out or to have visible in the room and to go over with participants an agenda for the workshop if the workshop will be interrupted by meals, breaks, etc. A plan for the session or day would be helpful, as well previewing the agenda and asking for feedback on it. Can we spend more time on actually using the materials? Serves several purposes. So, ang agenda and plan for the session is nakatabang sad kuno na siya sa mga handouts or like naamo sa inyong mga rooms pagbuhat ninyo. Yan magtipon mo, magbuhat mo na sa inyong mga mag-meeting tayo mo, mag-story down mo about sa kanang mga unsay mga agenda ninyo o mga gusto ninyong i-spread nila, i-share nila nga mga topics. Then kung ang workshop kuno ma-interrupted by meals, breaks daw or sa pagkaon or kanang tagaan mo laing time, so ang plan kuno sa session or day mas makatabang kuno na siya sa as well kuno na. Then pero para na ako dako sad na siyang tabang kay ngano like galibog mo na mo galibugan sa inyong mga agenda or sa inyong gimitingan kung tagaan mo breaks, tagaan mo time, kanan ba mo mukaon kay kana lagi nakuan ka kanang nawagtang imuhang mga nakuan tungod sa stress or something kay wala sad kay kaon, walay kanang sud imong tiyan. Then usasad murag na nabaghuan ka sa iyong meeting or something, manang tagaan mong breaks kay pwede man mo makahuna-huna unsay mga gusto ninyo i-share. Then kung ara mo yung mga some nga nahuna-hunaan mikalit lang sa inyong utok mo nang dako kayo tamang ang time management. yung yung naman yung tagaan mo og time nga makaunaw na like parehas ra gud sa study. Kung mag-exam ingon nga tagaan ta mo og time bisag 5 minutes lang or 10 nga na. And then sa ilang agenda kung sa ilang meetingan mag-include jud na ang mag kanang mangutana, then unsay mga kanang feedback nila ana kay mao man ginailang mga purposes no, like di sila agree pero sila ang uban agree. Ikaw kung libog sad ka medyo na kay gilibugan, makapangutana jud kag ahat nila mga tana kanila ana. And then it includes participants in the management of the session rather than making them passive receptors of information. So, nag-include sad kuno diri mga participants sa management session daw. Nga kanang kinanglan sila magbuhat og mga passive receptors kuno sa information. It gives participants a sense of anticipation, so they're interested in what comes next. So, ang mga participants sad nakasensad ko na sila mga anticipation. Unsa ba ni anticipation? Nakalimot man gud ko. So, para nila kuno interested kuno sila kung unsay mga next nila nga kuan meetingan mo nang uban nga dili sila kaayo maminaw sa mga less lang pero ang ilang gipanggihuwat nga mas pinanyo kanang ilang gipaminawan kay unsay interesting gud nga mga next nilang meetingan or ilang gisesyonan sa ilang agenda. So if it lets participants know that will happen when lunch is at 12:30 for example, and eliminates a certain edge of uneasiness and anxiety that they often have when they don't know the plan. So kung ang participants kuno nakaibaw nga unsay may tabo sa kung unsay mahitabo sa lunch kuno at 12:30 for example lang daw kuno nang 12:30 ma-eliminates ko ng ilahang uneasiness or anxiety nga sometimes kuno dili nila mahibaw ng mga plano. So sometimes na jud ko anak kasaway jud ko anak kanang lutang gani ka lutang nya mahibong na lang ka mga tanak sa mga grupo unsa na inyo giko na niya ikaw libog ka nga ha unsa to ana hindi ito wala na ito kay kuan na nalibog na ka wala na kay nauna na ang lain kay na stress kag maayo murag napanaw sa taga-puro pa nga word mura kag kuan daw kinanila panaw murag lutang makakosad na siya mga anxieties or bisag unsa like stress kaayo mo nang sometimes gid kinahanglan jud nga naa jud tay time breaks makarest ta aron atong unahuna dili ta magkahunahunog mga labi nagpalabian nimo gunahuna nga uy narabatay ko an sa assignment rabas ko dito tud hila na lang ka oras sige ni mo mention wa pa nimo buhata mo na yung ana nasabjud kayo. So, this is also the time to ask people for their expectations for the workshop, so which can be recorded on newsprint or in some other way, and this is also the time to ask people for reviewed at the end of the session. If most participants' expectations are significantly different from the presenters, there may be rooms for some adjustments of this point as well. So, kani ko nga time makaas na ko nang pwede na ko makaas ang people silang expectations sa workshop. Kung asa, pwede na ma-record or ma-newsprint ang ilang mga some way nila sa reviewed sa ilang end of sessions. Kung ang participants kuno ang iyang expectations is different ra gid kuno sa presenters na ay mga some room nga kinahanglan nilang i-adjust sa ilang points kung sila mga points kay na may uban good nga kanang nayuban nga muas ang people pero wala jud kaayo sila kasabot bisag unsaon nila pagpangutana na murag wala sila basta wala sila murag way nasud sa ilang utok ba kung unsay mga nakuan nila mo nang kinang nagsige sila kinahanglan mag-as-as sila gusto nilang ma-learn og balik pero pwede gyapon na nila balikon through mag-adjust sila ana adjuston din kung dili katapulan pwede nila i-kuan ang imuhang pwede nila i-share og balik sa mga plano nila sa mga kuan sa meeting nila number 1 jud na ay para lang jud nga magka-hiusa tanan kuan sila magka-work gid tanan kay unsaon man pagka-work sa ilang grupo kung kamong tanan dili mo agree dili mo satisfied kay naay mga uban nga wala gid kasabot na napabuhat-buhat ra dayto din mo gihapon kasabot di ba so kinahanglan jud nga ang group of people sa workshop or sa bisag group lang sa bisag unsa nga groups kinahanglan jud nga magkahiusa magkahatag og feedback sa usab-usa kung unsay angay effects or isaayos aron ma-process nila og maayo og ma-resolve ang mga problema. So I think that's the end of our presentation. So thank you for watching and thank you for listening. So God bless you all. Thanks.